Welcome to the worst sports channel on YouTube, Hot Garbage Sports, with me, Coach Ryan D. Sharks munch on the Jets and end the 4-game winning streak for Winnipeg, but Winnipeg is still on a 5-game point streak. It ends up going to overtime. The Jets lose 2-1 to the San Jose Sharks and are unable to complete the clean sweep of the California teams. And this is a rare feat. It's rarely done. We're going to talk about the game tonight. We're going to talk about the Sharks' COVID situation. We're going to talk about whether or not we think this was a good game or a bad game. And we're going to talk about the state of the Jets right after this. So let's go ahead, roll the intro, Jets fans. We'll get after it.
Here's Lemieux. The center penalty coming up. Look at Lemieux. Oh my God.
So we missed the last two Jets games for coverage. Let's talk about the Jets as a whole quickly. The Jets as a whole, down Blake Wheeler, down Mark Scheifele. Blake Wheeler finally returns to this game, inserts himself in at the third line, and that makes sense after coming off COVID-19. It can be a little bit slower, need to get a little bit more up to speed, and Paul Maurice's line juggling has been fantastic. We're going to get back to lines in a second, though. No Wheeler, no Scheifele before this game. Wheeler enters into this game. The Jets are playing gritty. They're grinding it through. They're on a 4-game win streak entering this one. And this, I know it's a California road trip, but should be a gimme, especially with 5 players out due to COVID-19. However, the Jets learn really quickly that there are no easy games in the NHL. And, well, even AHL players can be pretty darn good. So the Sharks end up completing a little bit of a Cinderella story here and winning the game. And let's be frank here, folks. Sports doesn't usually end with the miracle on ice. It just doesn't. The team that is better usually wins, and teams that have catastrophic injuries or collapses, just like 5 players heading to a COVID-19 list, usually do not rally statistically to come back and do what the Sharks did tonight. But when they do, people love it. So San Jose fans are going to be stoked about this. Jets fans, I don't mind you if you feel a little bummed about this. You might be leaving this one feeling pretty good, though, because it's still a 5-game point streak, and it's almost impossible to sweep California. I know it's happened, like 6 times? It's just such a rare feat that teams just hardly ever accomplish. So the fact that the Jets are able to get 5 out of a possible 6 points in California is pretty good, but it's also tough considering the California teams aren't that strong. Winnipeg had 2 things going on tonight. I saw it in the Ducks game as well. We didn't see it against the Kings. Winnipeg gets outshot in the first and in the second, and there's a very simple reason for this. You know, the basic observer is going to look at this and say, hey, results are all that matter. 5 points out of a possible 6. We're thrilled we'll get out of there. I, as a coach, look at behaviors and trends because certain things that happen are just not sustainable over the long term. When the Jets didn't have the good decor, I excused them for giving up the shot chances that they did. Now that they do, and we're this far into the beginning of the season, it's not the first couple games anymore, and they're still giving up this kind of shot total, especially what they did against the Sharks tonight, 13 and 14 shots in the first and second period alone. It's not acceptable. And the reason this is happening isn't because of bad luck or shots that are in the middle. Here, let's go ahead. There's the shots. All dangerous shots in the middle of the home plate. Connor Hellebuyck plays fantastic. No Hellebuyck, no point today. That's for sure. And hey, Jets fans, if you're a diehard fan like me or you just love great hockey thoughts, subscribe, thumbs up, join us here at Hot Garbage Sports. We want to have you on this channel. The Jets are just giving up too many primo chances, and this comes down to team discipline. This isn't just team discipline of coming into a game like San Jose, who's been affected by COVID-19, going, oh, la, we're going to win it. I actually think the Jets entered the first 2 periods feeling that, to be frank. Now, I obviously can't prove that. I can just say that through the way they were skating, the way they were playing, and the shot totals lead that to me and my trained eye in that opinion, that the Jets just didn't take the first 2 periods of this game seriously. And then as that score came closer, they started tightening up and playing better. That's why they ended up dominating the third period. There are systematic ways to play in the D zone. It is the coach's direction in the D zone. The D zone, the coach owns you. In the neutral zone playing defense, the coach owns you. When you turn over the puck in the offensive zone, the coach owns you. The coach owns defense, meaning the puck isn't on your stick. It is a systematic breakdown with very key behaviors that can be replicated and taught all over hockey to keep pucks out of your net. Players just have to commit to it, and they're not committed to this in Winnipeg. They haven't been for 2.5 years now, and this goes ahead and shows it, and they slip a point and they give up the win streak, which again, the end of the day isn't going to be a massive deal for the Jets, but behaviors when you want to win a Stanley Cup and go far are what matters, and these behaviors have to change. Now, fans, if you hear that and go, it's just being a curmudgeon full of hot air, go for it. Let's go ahead and see if the Jets keep sustaining a Stanley Cup win, getting outshot consistently in periods by bad teams. I'll go ahead and take the bet any day of the week that it isn't going to happen. But if the Jets are able to turn that around and dial in their friggin' D zone already, they would be amazing, because Connor Hellebuyck is being asked to do way too much. Hellebuyck has an amazing game tonight. Reimer has an amazing game tonight. Dubois plays fantastic tonight. Kyle Connor cost the first goal for Tomas Hertl. Connor didn't lift the stick. It's very clear here. We'll take a quick look at it. So you can see right here in the middle of your screen, Kyle Connor gets caught puck watching the slot. Hertl just sneaks in behind him. This has to be Connor's man. Staying on the right side of the puck means staying between the puck and your goalie, but Connor gets caught gliding, and that quick little glide ends up leading to a goal. And anytime you see this right here, which is a player's bum out, leg straight, and stick reaching, you know he's burnt. But then Kyle Connor makes up for it here. Pierre Dubois takes an awesome pass from Nate Schmidt up the middle. And I mean, look at this big freight train of a man. We're going to talk about Dubois in a second. He powers his way through, leaves a beautiful pass coming in here, and Connor ends up cleaning up the rebound. And there's nothing you're going to do about an empty net goal like this from Kyle Snipes Connor. All right, so there you have it. Connor costs one. Connor gets one back. Then the next thing to talk about is going to be Pierre-Luc Dubois. Dubois is just shining. He is turning into the power forward that everybody knew he could be. I was hard on him last year because, frankly, you got to be hard on guys that aren't performing this way. He's now shaking it off. He looks like he's acclimatized to Winnipeg. This guy looks like a 1B to Mark Scheifele's 1A now in the center position, and this is what Winnipeg was paying for. He's an absolute power forward gem. Very few things you can say poorly about Pierre-Luc Dubois, except for his slew of turnovers in the Anaheim game. But that's okay, because Winnipeg ended up bailing him out for that one. And then the next thing we'll take a look at is Nic Ehlers. Nic Ehlers looked frustrated this game, and I don't blame him. The guy gets a breakaway, and let's talk about an absolute junk no call. The refereeing in the NHL's trash. It's always going to be trash. They can call themselves professionals all they want. They're junk. Anyone else performing their job to the level of an NHL referee, not just against Winnipeg. This isn't a, oh, Winnipeg's the victim here. Nope. Everybody in the NHL from a fan base thinks these guys are a joke. They don't like the way the rules are interpreted. It's like the most complained about thing that there is on Twitter, social media as a hockey fan. I don't blame people. It's an absolute joke that they were unable to call this a penalty shot, or at the very least a penalty. Like, it's just embarrassing. How does a guy go down on a breakaway and the ref assumes right there that it was puck and stick? I mean, just awful. Just absolute terrible refereeing. Nic Ehlers also takes an absolutely vicious cross check at another point. Again, terrible refereeing. And I'm not sitting here saying, oh, poor little Nicky Ehlers. Nicky Ehlers is a little bit of a bugger. I mean, he threw some hits out there that are, they're borderline. Nic Ehlers is an instigator. He deserves everything he gets. I love Ehlers for it. But at the end of the day, the ref doesn't get to make those decisions. If it's an obvious call, call it. It changed the outcome of the game. But Winnipeg had plenty of chances to win this game. It isn't just on refereeing, guys. A hockey team always has the ability to win in spite of how bad a referee is at all times. I just got to get it in there that these refs are jokes. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the line juggling. There's a lot of people and fans in Winnipeg talking about the line juggling. They love it. They love seeing Svechnikov play with Dubois, play with Connor. I like that. Ehlers ended up moving up there closer to the end of the game. We want Wheeler on the third line. Folks, let me tell you something here as a coach. Making lines, whether you're a fan or an assistant coach, guys who have coached with me that want to make lines, I'm telling you right now, it is the easiest part of the job. Line matching is the hardest part of the job. So determining how you're going to play the game of chess throughout the moving game is the most difficult job for a head coach. Making sure you have the right personnel on the ice at the right time on a game that changes on the fly is extraordinarily complex. But at the end of the day, these are all professionals. The San Jose Sharks proved that today. They add 5 AHL players into their lineup. They didn't look like they missed a beat. These guys are pros. They can switch around with each other all the time. So all this like, oh, this guy on this line, this guy on this line, this guy on this line, I'm the greatest line creator in the world. It's just not that hard when you're playing with professionals. At the end of the day, they're all very good, and no one's going to do something absolutely ridiculous like putting junk on the first line and going back, unless you're a Wheeler hater and you think he doesn't deserve to be on the first line, in which case I digress. So it's great that Paul is able to switch these up. That's fantastic, but he's not getting the personnel to do what they should be doing on the ice, which is limiting the shots against and playing team defense. That's it. It all comes back to that, just like a comedian. We started with team defense. We talked about a whole bunch of things in the middle, and we're going to end on team defense. Hellebuyck is brilliant. Kyle Connor costs one, gets one. Nic Ehlers is frustrated. Referees are junk. 5 points out of a possible 6. Let's go, Jets fans. The Jets streak continues. The winning streak is over. The Jets need to find a way to improve their behaviors if they want to push for the Stanley Cup, because this has been happening for far too long. That's the breakdown. That's the analysis of this game, folks. We'll catch you in the next one. This has been Coach Ryan D.